Hi my dears, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Emma and I'm so happy you clicked on my What's for Dinner video. I hope you like it. We'll give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Let's just jump right on into this week's What's for Dinner video. Tonight's dinner is inspired by a commercial that my husband and I keep seeing. It is a Spam commercial and it says, "Don't knock it till you try it." And every time we see the commercial, we keep saying, "Ooh, we should make that." So that's what we're gonna do. I started by dicing up a 12-ounce can of Spam. Then I put my Ninja Foodi on sear saute low-medium heat and added about a tablespoon of oil to my Foodi base. I just let the oil heat up for a few minutes and then I added my diced Spam and we're just going to fry this up till it's lightly golden brown. Alright, while the Spam fries up, we're going to get our sauce ready. I did 2/3 cup of Kung Pao sauce. And then into my bowl with the Kung Pao sauce, I did a couple of dashes of Worcestershire sauce. Gave that a good old stir. Once that was all mixed together, I added about a teaspoon of ginger and gave that a good old stir until that was all mixed in. And that's our sauce done. Now back to the Spam. The Spam is nice and golden brown. So now I'm going to add my rice. I just did a packet of the Thrive Market already cooked organic white rice. And then I just stirred that in. Next, I added a 15-ounce can of peas and carrots that I drained. Gave that a good old stir. Then in goes the sauce I made, and I gave that a good old stir. I just let the sauce warm up for a few minutes, and that's it, all done. And here it is all served up. I just did some bread and butter on the side. I have some Dave's Killer Bread, and my husband just has some Nature's Own, just plain white bread. And then I also chopped up some green onion to go on top of the Spam and rice. I've never made this meal before, and I definitely will again. It was absolutely delicious, if you like Spam. And as the commercial says, don't knock it till you try it. For tonight's dinner, we're going to start with getting our beans ready. So I just did a cup of pinto beans and I just let them soak in some water for about an hour. Once the beans were nice and cleaned, I drained them and then I added them to a pot of water. To the beans, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of minced garlic. Then I gave the beans a good old stir, and we're just going to keep these on low heat and let them cook up for 2 hours. At this point, the beans are done, so I'm going to start frying up my bacon. I have this 12-ounce package of bacon. I'm just going to fry it all up tonight and then save half for tomorrow night's dinner. So I fried up the bacon, put it on a paper towel to drain it, and then once it cooled down a little bit, I cut it into strips and added it to my beans. But before I add the bacon, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce to the beans, a couple of squirts of ketchup, and then a couple of squirts of mustard, and 1 packet of sugar in the raw. And then I just gave that a good old stir, and then we added the bacon. And then here the beans are all done. Once the bacon was in, I just gave it a good old stir. Then I just put the beans to the side while we make our ribs. Or actually, let's prepare them first. Here is my slab of ribs, and then I added some Famous Dave's rib rub and just massaged that into both sides of my ribs. Not my ribs, but my slab of ribs. And that's me trying to be funny, guys. Sorry. Okay, now I've massaged my slab of ribs with that famous Dave's rib rub. I'm going to add about a cup of beef broth to my Ninja Foodie base. Then I added my air fryer basket and the slab of ribs. And we are going to pressure cook these on high for 19 minutes. And when they were done, I did a quick release. Once all the pressure was released, here is what they looked like. Now we're gonna air crisp them. So I have some of this famous Dave's Devil Spit barbecue sauce, super spicy. We just put some of that barbecue sauce on one side of the rib. Once the barbecue sauce was slathered on that one side, we are going to air crisp them at 400 for 7 minutes. Once my ribs are air crisping on the first side, I decided to make some mac and cheese. So I just bring a pot of salted water to a boil, add my noodles, let the noodles cook up according to the packaging directions, drain it. Once drained, I add the noodles back to the pot, and then I add some butter and then a Velveeta cheese packet. Stir, stir, stir. Delicious as always. All right, rib side one, check. We're gonna try and flip them. This may look easy, but it's not. And then here my husband is stealing a piece of the rib off my air fryer basket. Anyway, so we flip them, and then we're gonna add barbecue sauce on the other side, and we're gonna air crisp them again at 400 degrees for 7 minutes. And then here they are, all done and delicious. And we just took them out, let them rest for about 3 minutes before my husband dug into them. And then here it is, all served up, those delicious ribs. The homemade baked beans with bacon, they are delicious. I definitely make those again. And then my mac and cheese, or my spiral noodles and cheese, I guess I should say. Delicious. For tonight's dinner, I wanted something super simple, and like I said yesterday, I cooked up that whole 12 ounces of bacon that I used half in my baked beans, and now we're going to use the other half in my sandwiches. So I'm going to start by making my husband's on his White Nature's Own bread. I added mayo, bacon. He is going to have some Monterey Jack cheese. Then I added some tomato, and that's it. That's his done. Delicious. And then mine, I'm going to have my favorite bread, which is the Dave's Killer Bread. I did mayo, bacon. For my cheese, I'm going to have some Monterey Jack. Then I put some tomato and some salt, but don't tell anybody. And then I cut it up, and that's that. My aunt had sent us some chips from England, so my husband's going to have some of these hot sauce Blaze chips that he is loving since my aunt sent them. And then with my sandwich, I'm just going to have some prawn cocktail chips. Super simple and delicious. For tonight's dinner, we are going to make some crab Alfredo, but I'm going to make my own Alfredo sauce this time. I usually do just buy the jar Alfredo sauces, and they are delicious, but nothing beats making your own Alfredo sauce. Anyway, I have this 1.5 pound package of flaky crab that I'm just going to use half of it anyway. So you're going to need crab, some butter, some heavy cream, some garlic, some Slap Your Mama seasoning, if you like spicy, some noodles, spaghetti, linguine, I'm just using spaghetti, some Parmesan cheese, and a vegetable of choice. I asked my husband what he wanted, and he chose carrots. So let's start cooking. I'm going to start by cooking up my noodles first. So I'm just going to bring a pot of salted water to a boil. Once it had come to a boil, I'm going to add my spaghetti. I'm going to cook it to the packaging directions, and then I'm going to drain it, and I'm just going to leave this in my strainer to the side while we make our Alfredo sauce. I did reserve a half a cup of the spaghetti water. But before I make my Alfredo sauce, I just diced up half of that 1.5 pound package of crab meat just into bite-sized pieces. Now for the Alfredo sauce, I just melted up 2 tablespoons of butter, Once the butter had melted up, I added 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Gave that a good old stir, and I just let that cook up for about 2 minutes. Once the garlic had cooked up, I added a cup of heavy whipping cream and gave that a good old whisk. Once the heavy whipping cream was incorporated, I added a 1.5 cups of finely shredded Parmesan cheese, and I just whisked that in. Once the Parmesan was all nicely whisked in, I added a teaspoon of Slap Your Mama seasoning, and I whisked the Slap Your Mama seasoning in with the heavy whipping cream and the Parmesan. Then I added some salt. Nope, I didn't add salt. I added some pepper. And then you guessed it, I whisked it all together. Then I added my crab meat. I stirred in the crab meat. I added my carrots and stirred them in. I had thought everything was going to fit in my pan here, but it didn't. So the pot that I had cooked up my spaghetti in, I ended up just returning the spaghetti back into that pot and then adding the crab Alfredo in with the spaghetti and just giving it a good old stir until the noodles the spaghetti had been incorporated with the Alfredo sauce. And I just let this sit and warm through for a little bit. And then that was it. Super delicious, and I just love homemade Alfredo sauce. And then here it is all served up. I did end up adding a little extra Parmesan cheese, but to be honest, you can't tell. Anyway, this was absolutely delicious. This and the Spam meal tied for my favorite meals this week. Anyway, that concludes this week's What's for Dinner video. I hope you guys liked it. We'll give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you Friday for my Soup of the Week video. Have a fabulous week. Bye.